With everything going on, economic crisis, COVID, war, are you questioning if you should still go into farming? And what kind of farming should you actually go into? Today, I'm a farmer myself, and I want to share with you my opinion, my suggestions, and from my experience, what I recommend for you to do. Hi guys, my name is Fred, and once again, welcome to Farming in Africa. Here on this channel, we talk about innovative way of farming. We also share our experience, knowledge with you, and most importantly, our mistakes that we've done, so that you will not have to repeat those mistakes and can do things better than we did and probably our forefathers did as well. So if this is a channel for you, then thank you. Go ahead and subscribe and join the Farming in Africa family. Today we are talking about, should we actually invest into farming at this time, considering everything that is going on in the world? Stocks are plunging. I don't know if you invest in stock, in crypto, or what you do, but yes, everything is going down. Unemployment is increasing, but guess what? Prices of fuel is increasing, and what else? Food is also increasing, and therefore, what does that mean to us as farmers? And what does that mean to passionate people like you who have been thinking about going into farming? I think the timing is right, and all the signs are pointing to the right direction. Let's look at some numbers. Do you know that between 2018 till 2020, each person in Africa actually consumed about 13 kilograms of meat? Have you asked yourself where that meat is coming from? Do you think it's coming from our farms? Do you think it's coming from Africa? Let me know what you think in the comments below, because this is something that we all need to be aware of. If you know any information I don't know, or somebody reading through the comments doesn't know, please write it, but I will share mine with you. I have a friend in Ghana now that actually exports 40-feet containers at least every week to Ghana. And what is he doing? Bringing meat from Europe and different countries. So probably huge portion of this percentage, or this 30 kg, is actually coming from him or from other people, from other big even giants that are doing that in a year, guys. And that is something for us to think about, right? And what are those meats? The most consumed meats in Ghana specifically is what? Chicken, beef, and then what? And then we have goats, sheep as well. Right, so you're talking about your chicken that's coming from everywhere, China, Brazil, Europe, right? Then you have your goat and sheep, which normally a few from Ghana, because when it comes to those things, I think people are very, have a certain smell and taste that they want. But your beef, Brazil, huge, right? Coming from there. So all these things are signs, and now with importation prices, with inflation, all these things are what? Increasing, and therefore a sign for all of us to take advantage of it. Ghana alone imported about what? $7.48 million of meat into the country in 2019. The figures now is going to be even higher, because as prices and stuff are increasing, our farmers are actually going down. If you're doing your research, you know how many poultry farmers have actually lost their farm from 2021 till date. And therefore, this figure that I'm quoting in 2019 is actually going to rise. And that is a big problem. So you're probably like, yeah, Fred, I see all these data every day. I'm aware of this problem, but where do I start from? I don't have a land. I'm not a farmer. I don't know what to do. Right, so how do I even start my farm? And I think you will all agree with me that to start a farm, yes, we need a land first, right? To purchase a land. A lot of things to consider. I've done a couple of videos on buying a land, right? But there are certain things you don't need to get wrong, or you need to consider. First of all, you're buying a farmland. So the land you're buying needs to be fertile. And according to research, in Africa alone, we have about 1,119 hectares of land lying down, not just land, but farming land, fertile land. So your land, part of this land is yours, so go get it if you don't have a land and you're watching me, right? Now, as things are hard, the economy is hard, people are prone to sell their land easily. That's how the rich get rich. This is a fact. I'm not the bad person here. So go get yourself one of these hectares of land that is lying down idle for you. Get a fertile land, right? Consider availability to water. If you have it closer to, a lake, a stream, that is great for you. If you don't, can you actually drill water? Most of my land, I had to drill water to be able to, irrigate or have water for the livestock. If you have lake by you, then that is great as well. But start from there, right? Accessibility, right? What is the access to the land? Do you have good roads there? Mostly our farmlands do not have the best of road, but I think it's something to consider. You want to consider power as well, depending on the kind of farming that you want to do, right? For example, my farm doesn't have light, right? So I use the farm machine with an alternator and I'm able to power it. I know most of you have been reaching out to me about getting some of these machines, and yes, we are taking orders to be able to bring some from Italy, and then there's a version from China as well to be able to power some of your land so that you can have electricity at your farm. So contact us if this is something that you guys are interested. A few of us are coming together to bring some into Ghana. But definitely, if you're going into poultry, other livestock, you want to have people live there, electricity now is something that you can't do away with, right? Yeah, so these are just a few things. Make sure, again, most importantly, that you're buying from the right person and your land is safe, right? So get your land first. Once you have your land, your next question is, again, what do I want to do with this? What type of farming do I want to do? Do you want to go into the livestock farming, or do you want to do the crop farming? If you want to do the crop farming, that is great, right? Then there are so many factors. What kind of crop are you doing? Short-term crops like maize, that's three months. You can do your okra, your cabbages, your vegetables, right? Or are you thinking about cash crop where you're going into cashew, you're going to cocoa, you're going into palm nuts, right? Coconut, and so on and so forth. Those are in the crop sector. If you're going to go into the livestock too, then which one are you thinking of, right? I'm into the livestock business, so I want to focus more on the livestock, and I know most of you that are watching me are also doing livestock, so I'm going to talk about a few of the livestock, the goats, the pigs, and the cow as well, so that you guys can get some knowledge through my experience on what that journey has been and where we are going. So we haven't started our pig project yet. As you guys know, I've encountered a couple of challenges when I built my pen. Therefore, we haven't started it yet. But through my journey with other farmers in Uganda, I got exposed to a lot of pig knowledge that I would like to share with you guys, right? And to my surprise, pig is actually a very well and consumed meat or protein in Africa. I mean, Uganda is a whole other level, but even in Ghana, surprisingly, right? I know our Muslim brothers and some religious entities do not, but it's crazy at night, how much people consume. So there's a huge demand for pig, and therefore, if pig is something that you want to do, just do your research. I cannot generalize. You always have to put in some work as well. Look at the community that you are. What percentage are religious bodies that do not eat pigs. You can't go and start your pig farm in the Zongo or in a community where it's full of Muslims. Your demand is going to be low. So do your research, find out. But the good thing about pigs is just, they multiply fast. A pig can give birth to as maximum as 15. Depending on, again, how well you take care of them. But you can have 6, 8, 10, 12, 15. And can you imagine if you invest into a pig and in the 1 year he gives you 15? I don't think any livestock is able to give you that multiplication factor. Or maybe very few investment, right, will be able to give you that faster return on your investment. So that is something really to consider if you are really thinking about investing into something alongside the livestock industry. So that's the number one on my list. I guess number two will be the goats. Personally, I am focusing currently this year on goats, and that has been my mission this year. And I'm doing that for a couple of reasons, right? One, the low maintenance and management, right? Goats are not livestock that you need, huge land to manage them. They are very easy to manage if you have feed, right? So in my case, I have a grazing yard for them where I just open them and they can just go and graze. In the afternoon or evenings when they are back in, I'll basically give them hay, and it's very simple for me, very low management, right? Again, in terms of startup costs, the breeds are expensive, but again, once you cross that line, the rest are very cheap because goats do not eat as much as your pig and your cows will eat, right? They are very small ruminants. So as much as they eat, you can compare it to the other livestock. Even with poultry, you spend a lot of money. So the cost of maintaining goats farm is very cheap, and that's another reason why. And also the demand for goat meat. I always say this, and I'll continue to say that right now, if I want to buy 20 goats from your village or from your community, I bet there will be no one who is willing or can be able to give me 20 goats right now to say, this is cash, this is 20 goats. Because nobody's really doing it at a larger scale, right? And that is why I think, as much as we all love goat meat, I love the smell of goat meat, right? When I go to the chopper, I will always get goat meat. At home, I have goat meat in my fridge, right? But we are not really doing it on a larger scale. And that's why I think there is a lot of opportunity when it comes to goat meat. I know in some parts of the continent, goat milk is huge. Goat cheese is huge. In Ghana, we are not used to drinking raw milk, right? And therefore, the demand is not that as great as East Africa. But if you're thinking about goat milk, it's also another very, highly demanded product out there. So goat is another thing that, I highly recommend. I think the third thing on my list is poultry, right? Poultry farm is also the shortest way of getting return on your money, right? So what you do is basically you buy your day-old chicks. In the next 16 weeks, your chicks will start laying, right? So 16 weeks is about 4 months to you, right? So 4 months, you start seeing money. If you take good care of them, within 20 weeks, you started actually using that money to feed them. So that means you're no more investing into it and you're counting your profit. That is very quick money for you right there. Again, if you want, that's on the layer side. If you want to go into the broiler side, then that's a whole complete game, right? Some people 16 weeks or even 12 weeks, they've started selling their birds, right, to the restaurants, to the public, and that is very quick return on it. The only downside to it is that now the cost of feeding has increased, and therefore you will have to put in enough capital as compared to in the past where things weren't as expensive as it is. So it could be a bit capital intense to start that project. But you will definitely recover if you manage and have the right demand in your community or connections to where you're going to sell it as well. And then the next thing, which is the final thing, is the cattle. As you guys know, we do have cows as well at our ranch, and I love cows. There is always demand. There's never been a time where I want to sell my cow that I've not had anybody to buy. There is always demand for cow. So if you have cows, you will always be able to get money, and it's good money. Cows are now going for about 5,000, 6,000, depending even on your size. I sold a bull for I think 6,500. A very big bull, right? And so if you're able to invest into them and you have it, you can always rely on them for some money in case of emergency or in case you need money for anything. The downside to that is that they eat a lot. So if you're going to do intensive, you need to have a bigger size of land to grow your feed. And if you're going to let them roam, which I don't support, then you're going to have issues because they're going to spoil people things. You're going to run into a lot of trouble. They're going to be bitten by snake and all those downsides to it. And they do eat a lot. So you need to be prepared for that if you're going to go into the cattle business. But aside that, I think you know, they are also very lucrative. There is huge demand. Everybody eats beef meat, and we need to crack that actually, because the amount of beef that we import into the country is crazy. But who is going to have 20,000 cows? When I went to the US, a farmer had 70,000 cows, right? And the only way he's able to do that is because he's able to feed them and they don't have to roam around. If 70,000 cows are roaming in El Centro in California, you know, I think that there will be a commotion in the city, right? So that's the kind of mindset and thinking we probably need to do, because beef is not going anywhere. Meat is not going anywhere, right? So if you're looking into investing into it, you're welcome. I'm available. Let me know. There is a link in the description. Schedule some time with me and I'm happy to share as much as I can with you guys and give you all the knowledge that is there. But I think it is time for us to pay attention to our agriculture industry and what we eat in Africa. To my brothers, mothers, fathers living in the States, those of you with capital, calm down. We have the land. You saw the numbers, right? 1,119 hectares million, right, of land, farmland that is available for all of us to invest in and start growing and feeding our continent. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please write in the comments, contact us on WhatsApp, schedule a time with me and let's talk about it. But I thank you so much for your time and for watching this video. I will see you again in the next video.